Hello, and thank you for watching. This presentation is about what most of my work is about, is making people think. This presentation is entitled, It's Not Spinning. We were taught a lot of things to believe in. Religion, government, the monetary system. My channel was about coming out of those false control and division paradigms and becoming a thinking, spiritual, sovereign being who's connected to God, source or creator, whatever you want to call that entity, in a way that no one who follows those paradigms could ever be, because you can't be connected that way if you're into any of those things, religion, government, or money. It's Not Spinning is about one of the false control narratives that's been used. And a narrative is just a line of thinking that's ingrained. It's just constantly rolled into people's thinking over and over and over until it becomes such a thing that it's just there. Like if to question it is oh my gosh, you can't do that. Well, I want to thank my friend and mentor, Dr. Shmuel Asher, for his inspiration and his contributions to this great work of getting us right with our true creator. Spinning, the atmosphere. If you tell someone that, okay, if I jump up in the air 3-4 feet off the ground doesn't move. I land right where I took off. I can prove that. So then they're going to say, well, it's all spinning, right? The jet fighter that's clipping along at 1,000 miles an hour, the guy in his Top Gun jet's clipping along at 1,000. No matter what direction he's going, everything he's in, the air he's in, the clouds, the whole thing is going counterclockwise at 1,000 miles an hour. So he might be going this way, but everything he's in is going this way at 1,000, while he's going this way on top of the earth. I don't feel like I'm spinning. I don't know. And of course, if the whole atmosphere is spinning, where does that spin zone? It's a spin zone, right? It's all spinning. What's his name? Bill O'Reilly. It's all spinning. His was the no spin zone, sorry. But it's all spinning, but of course at the top things would get kind of weird, because if it's spinning in an exact direction, things would be kind of funky at the top and the bottom, wouldn't they? Yeah. Just food for thought there. Because you're not allowed to go to the poles, by the way. The government won't let you go there. I've never heard of astronauts coming back, and of course they don't come back because they never went anywhere. But I've never heard of them coming back from space. Okay, I've never heard of them coming back and saying they could see before they penetrated our atmosphere. They kind of see it spinning as they darted into it. They're coming down and they're getting ready to penetrate Earth's atmosphere, and they're looking out the freaking window. I've never heard them saying they could see it spinning. Have you? Have you ever heard anybody say they could see it spinning from up there? All right. Let's get back to the fighter pilot. He's taken off. He's up to 15,000 feet. He's leveled off at 1,000 miles an hour at 15,000 feet above the ground. His autopilot is not engaged, but he's flying level to the ground. Well, if he's flying level to the ground, in order to keep doing that, he has to go down 266 feet for every 20 miles. Well, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but every minute and 12 seconds he's got to dive well over 250 feet. And he's got to keep doing this. If he's going 1,000 miles, he has to keep nosing down, because even though it says he's level, if he's not on a level surface, he's just going to keep flying. It's a ball, right? Here's this little pin, this little freaking tiny little screw head. Where the heck is it? Anyway, this tiny little screw head is a jet, or this screw is a jet, right? Flying over the Earth. He's at 15,000 feet. But he's not on autopilot, but he's level. If he's level, he's going to keep going like this. He's got to keep going like this. He's got to keep turning downward. He's got to keep nosing down. If his instruments say he's flying level, that's great, as I said, but he's not. If he doesn't turn the nose down, he's going to fly off the speeder and eventually into space. Unless, of course, he's flying level over level surface, a relatively level surface, in which case there would be no need for what in effect would be a slow dive to remain level over a round surface at that speed. Don't worry about gravity. We'll get to that later. That won't take long. Water is heavy. Seawater is 8.5 pounds per gallon. I'm not a physicist, but I know water can be used as a level because I've done it in construction, building decks, because you can take a tube full of water and get all the bubbles out and level something 15 feet away. As long as all the bubbles are out, and you can go from one point to another and match those points in level from the ground. The Egyptians figured that out with reeds, apparently. Amazing. Water doesn't sit on a curve. Have you ever put a big bowl of water out and tried to get it to, how are you going to get it to sit on a curve? It can't. It sits flat. It has to. There's no way around that. It finds its level. The idea that it can be some kind of curved configuration is bizarre. That's bizarre, man. I never smoked anything close to good enough to do that. I watched dozens and dozens of rocket launches from the Kennedy Space, from across the river, from the Kennedy Space Center, from across the river. The last 5 shuttle launches, dozens of rockets, dozens. Now, I was in Titusville, right across the river. The moon landings, we're going to do another show on that. So basically, these pads, you're talking 12, 13. I don't think the closest one's like 12 or 13 miles. They're way out by the beach. They're way out by the beach. So you got to go across the Indian River, which right there is, I think, 4 or 5, and then a whole bunch of Merritt Island until you get to where the pads actually are. Even with the human eye, okay, on a clear day, you can see that rocket sitting there. You can see all of it, and you're not elevated. You're standing on a pier, maybe that's 3 feet off the water, 4 feet off the water, off the river. So you're not that high up. You can see the whole damn rocket, launch pad, everything. On the internet, it says that our horizon as a 6-foot human is 3 miles away. 3 miles. Now, if I'm looking at pretty much the bottom of that rocket and launch pad at 13 or 14 miles with binoculars, very clearly. With binoculars, it was like, it was boom right there. But even with the naked eye on a clear day, you could see it as it launched. But with binoculars, it was extremely clear. They're saying you can only see 3 miles. How can I see that rocket? Okay, this is where all the math breaks down with this shit. At 15 miles, according to the math, I would not be able to see half of a 230-foot Falcon 9 SpaceX rocket. That rocket's sitting there, and I'm 15 miles away, basically at ground level, maybe a foot or two above, but either way, I'm going to be missing well over 100 feet of that 230-foot rocket because of the curve, the supposed curve. I'm seeing the whole thing right down at the bottom of the pad, watching it light up. People have strung wires down flat waters for miles, several miles, and done measurements. In 3 miles, there should be a 6-foot curve. The next force, or farce, I should say this is a farce, but it's called a force. It's the force called a farce. Gravity, it can't be a force because everything falls differently according to its weight and density and aerodynamics. So the idea that it's something getting sucking it down like a magnet is doesn't make any sense. Because a magnet, heavier things are less likely to be repelled to it, or propelled to it, whereas the lighter things that are metal are, drawn to it very quickly. Well, gravity is not a force like that because it is the opposite. The dandelion seed that I blow on, it just goes away in a 2-mile-an-hour wind because it doesn't have any density or weight. How things fall to the ground is because of density, air resistance, and weight. These 2 balls of paper, they're going to fall to the ground or the floor at a different speed. They're the same piece of paper. One, they're 8.5 by 11s. One's just smaller. But when I drop them, the little compact one falls faster. They're the weight. The only difference is the aerodynamic profile, the footprint, as it were, of how much air of the atmosphere it's resisting against it. A foam brick, brick size, and a regular brick don't fall at the same speed. They're the exact same profile. One just weighs one hell of a lot more, doesn't it? I'm not telling anybody what to believe. I'm telling people to think, question things, especially the things we were taught in those first 7 years, because that's the programming part. Question everything, because this is about thinking. Think about those little demonstrations and little comparisons and analogies. They make sense, don't they? Yeah, they do. That's why a lot of people believe them. And I certainly, I don't say it's a belief system. I just it's through my thought and analysis is what I've come to believe. I've come to know as my truth. I don't think it's a belief system. A belief system is, whatever. Your dog is the creator. That's a belief system. I think this is backed up by many, many pretty smart people. And again, this is about undoing what they wanted you to just take as, oh, this is it, and there's nothing else out there. It's sad, but that's what we were kind of, especially people in my age group, were very much on a large scale given in the 60s and 70s. There wasn't a lot of free thinking of parents in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. There wasn't a lot of free thinking among parents who were born in the 20s and 30s, believe me. So, anyway, I appreciate you watching, and like and share the video if you can. Subscribe to the channel, I would love it. And also visit my website, manicmechanictees.com. I'll give you a couple seconds. I don't do the political game, folks, but this guy's such a joke. I had to print that one. They're $12.50 on the website. ManicMechanicTees.com, TEES.com, ManicMechanicTees.com. I've got 2 on there now. I'm going to print some more soon. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll have another video up hopefully within. I'm try to keep pumping out 2 a week, various subjects. Mostly just about, as I said, thinking beyond the narratives and outside the box. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care.